When empath reaches the point of burnout, we feel emotionally drained, mentally overwhelmed, physically exhausted, stressed, and disconnected from other people. Basically, we shut down and don't feel like doing anything anymore. And yes, there are ways to recharge ourselves and recover from this, but sometimes prevention is just better than cure. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 4 early burnout signs so that you can detect that you are heading towards the direction of exhaustion as early as possible and steer yourself in another direction before you end up feeling burnout. I'm going in the order of what comes first. If you reach the last clue and you still don't do anything about it, it's very likely that you will end up in the burnout. The first clue is bad vibes. When you have bad vibes about someone or something like a project that you have to do, always listen to your intuition. There are countless times when my intuition has warned me not to do something and I regret not following my gut. One such case is with regards to this story I shared previously about this tuition student I have that crossed my boundaries multiple times. What I didn't share in that video is that the very first day after the lesson, the mom introduced me to the dad. And when we say hi to each other, I felt a very cold sensation down my spine. There's something wrong with the energy of this family. I didn't know what it was. Maybe there was an abuse or something, but I just didn't feel safe in the family. There wasn't any warmth. The dad gave me a very cold feeling. This is the first indication that I shouldn't pick up this assignment, but I ignore my intuition. And later, the mom sent me a text to ask me to rank her children's performance after each lesson. This is the very first time a parent asked me to do something like this. It felt more like what a corporation would do to give feedback to their employees. But for children, I find it a bit strange. And of course, I didn't listen to my inner alarm bell. I tortured myself for 8 lessons before I left for good. The student lied to me about having ADHD, depression, being adopted, and even though I was skeptical multiple times, my empathy blinded me and I was made a fool out of my empathy. The mom also never corrected me when I told her about her son's ADHD. She was also part of the deception. And all of this can be prevented if I just listen to my intuition on day 1. Number 2, losing your seniority. Seniority is a word that I learned from Jeffrey Allen's duality class, and I love this word very much. Anytime you prioritize other people's problems or emotions over your own, and you lose touch with your own emotion, you lose your seniority. And that's where you will start heading towards the direction of burnout. Helping others doesn't require to give up your seniority. If helping others makes you think about their problem all the time, if helping others preoccupies your day, your mind, then you may want to ask yourself, are you the right person to help them? Maybe this person needs more support than you alone can provide. Maybe you don't have the right tools, resources, or capability to help the other people. You have to be very honest with yourself. Even though we are empath and we can understand what the other person is going through or feeling, but that doesn't mean that we know how to help them. We may not know how to resolve their problems. So don't put this responsibility and burden on yourself that you have to be the one to help them. I know that during my initial year of being a tutor, I have students with autism, dyslexia, ADHD, family problem, and I spend a lot of time researching about their problems and trying to understand and help them. And then I will burn myself out very quickly. Later I realized that as a tutor, I was supposed to help them with maths. I'm not supposed to help them with other things. Like, I should leave these problems to the professionals. Helping others is about lifting them up to a better place. It's not about being dragged down by them and feeling emotionally drained. Whenever you catch yourself paying too much attention to other people's problem, sacrificing yourself and neglecting your own needs and well-being, your own priority for other people, this is a sign that you need a change. The third clue is when you realize that you are doing something that you don't like. So for most empaths, we have this issue. We will say yes to something, and then later we realize that it should be a no. Initially, we focus so much on helping the other people that we are not aware of our own desire. We are not aware that this isn't something that we enjoy doing. It's only when we start doing something that we agree to that we realize that we should have said no. So for example, when I was in this meetup group and the host was leaving Singapore and migrating to the US, several people, including me, agreed to help him host the event in Singapore. Hosting an event isn't something that I would normally do or enjoy doing, but because I felt a sense of disappointment from the members, the group is coming to an end and I don't want other people to feel disappointed, so I agreed to help and take over the group. But just after one event, I felt totally drained and I didn't want to do it ever again. When you realize that you have agreed to something that you don't want to do, this is a cue for us to change direction. I know some of us may continue out of obligation or niceness. We already agree, so it doesn't feel so nice to go against our words. But understand this, you bring more harm to the other party and yourself when you are not 100% committed to the thing that you agree to. It's better to tell the other person you make a mistake than continue forcing yourself to do something out of obligation. You will only end up feeling very drained and burnout. Number 4, you feel irritated, frustrated, or even resentful. When you reach this stage, your feelings have surfaced. Previously, you may ignore your gut feelings or you're too focused on helping others that you don't know how you feel. But now you know. Because when you keep forcing yourself to do things that you don't want, this feeling of irritation, frustration, and resentment will definitely come out. Especially resentment. When you are telling yourself that you have no choice but to help the other person, you will feel resentful. You feel very responsible and you cannot abandon this role you put yourself into. For example, if someone comes to you with their problems, and initially you are okay, you listen to their problems, you understand them, and you make them feel better. Then the next day, the same person comes back with more problems and more problems and more problems. You provide them with solution, but they don't want to listen. They argue for their limitation. They just want you to agree with them and validate how bad their life is. And then you find yourself trapped in this loop that you can't get out. Every time they text you, you just feel super irritated. This is a clue that you're heading in the wrong direction. There is still a chance to get out of this if you just express what you truly feel. As empath, I know that we don't like to have conflict with others. So showing our irritation may not be something that we are comfortable doing. We feel like it will hurt our relationships and we want to be seen as someone who is helpful. But if we don't share our needs and our boundaries honestly with another person, we are going to reach a stage of burnout. We will feel overwhelmed, we will feel stressed. This is much worse than feeling irritated. And for most people, when they see that you feel irritated with them, they will not come and bother you, or they may change their behavior. This will be better for both parties. And irritation is not a bad emotion. It just shows you that your boundary has been crossed and you need to do something about it. Also know that all this can be prevented if we have picked up on the first 3 clues. If you just listen to your intuition in the first place, if you just don't give up your seniority that easily, or if you're just willing to admit your mistake early and communicate that this is not something that you enjoy doing, you don't have to reach this point of irritation and frustration. But if you still choose to ignore your feelings, maybe you feel guilty about feeling irritation and frustration at others, your body may start shutting down to help you realize that, hey, it's time to stop. It's time to pay attention to your own emotion and your own needs. You may even develop illnesses. And I'm not scaring you. This is exactly what happened when I didn't want to host the meetup. I became really sick. You can read more about this in my book, Love Your Body. But what I'm trying to say here is that you can't ignore your authentic self it will drain your energy away. If you are feeling drained, watch this video over here. These 5 bad habits may be the reason.